If somebody had told you the LA Rams would not have Puka Nacua or Cooper Kupp and still beat the San Francisco 49ers, would you have believed them? Well, they did it. And it was definitely a shock. But would you say the 49ers blew this, or the Rams won it, or kind of a bit of both? Will, first on this one.
Yeah, so I think it was kind of like a bit of both. Like this game, I remember watching it and it sort of like lulling me to sleep. It just seemed as though the LA Rams were just hanging around. You know what I mean? Like they could never really put them away. And it shows towards the end, they were able to sneak in there. Like, shout out to Matthew Stafford for having it. He didn't really make too many errors, but he did just enough. I think the Rams were the better coached team. They seemed better prepared, and they made the plays when they needed to. If we have a look at the 49ers, one thing I'll say is Brandon Ayuk, especially after finally getting the money he held out for, he's starting off really slow. I think we all remember like the voiceover of Peyton Manning kind of getting heated in week 1 with Brandon Ayuk sort of dropping a touchdown pass. I'm not saying there was a touchdown pass this game to Ayuk, but all I'm saying is he had a few drop balls, and it's kind of like you miss out on camp.
Do you know who
you're not in form yet. It's going to take him a few games to sort of get up to speed, but you need these wins early, especially if you're looking to push later on. The 49ers are a contender, and like you could visibly see Brandon Ayuk was upset because he knows he's better than this. Brock Purdy, I think this is not an official contract year, but it kind of is for him.
But if somebody had told you, right, Brock would go 22 for 30, 292 yards, 3 touchdowns, 137 passer rating, and you say they lost this game, when Jordan Mason ran it pretty well, 19 for 77. There were mishaps, so I think Brock did everything in his power to allow them to win this game. There were other pieces on the team that prevented that from happening. Firstly, obviously, they had drops from wide receivers. Obviously, they don't have their top 2 offensive weapons available in this game. So it was a battle of 2 teams who didn't have their top 2 offensive weapons, right?
Yep.
But everyone expected the 49ers still to win this one, purely because, obviously, the Rams, even though they're at home, it was pretty much a home game for the 49ers with the amount of 49ers fans that were actually there. And generally, from a offensive line point of view, they've still got players, who can still tote the rock well. Now, one thing you've got to give the Rams props for is Kyren Williams in this game. 89 yards and 2 touchdowns. And a touchdown in the passing game as well. So he was pretty much their entire offense, and he did it well. But the 49ers' entire offense in this game was pretty much Jawan Jennings, who had himself 175 yards off 11 catches and 3 touchdowns. And
he kept them in the game.
I think
he held them to a lead.
He held them to a lead, but I think this game was won and lost on that missed field goal.
Oh, yep.
That missed field goal would have pretty much ended the game. So they were 24-17 up, 2 minutes and 48 seconds left. Right? It's a 50-yard field goal, and it was a nut hair left. It hardly missed. In terms of, he had the leg on it, he just pushed it left, right? Pulled it left. Now, the next play, Matthew Stafford, deep right, Tutu Atwell for 50 yards. The opposition makes a mistake. What do you go and do? You make them pay. And you make them pay big. That is what they did. Every single mistake that the 49ers made, the Rams made them pay. And it was brilliant in terms of what the Rams were able to do, because it seemed like McVay was masterminding this entire thing. From a coaching point of view, it seemed that he beat Shanahan in this one.
See, but that's the thing. That's what this game proves Sean McVay can effing coach. Basically, it was won by Sean McVay. Yes, Stafford played. Yes, Karen Williams played. But he put on a master clinic for them to win this game. Yes, the 49ers. But when I saw the results, Sean McVay can coach. I mean, I think McVay is proving to be those type of. I think he's entering the, how do you call it, the Mike Tomlin realm, right? Because Mike Tomlin is one of those coaches that it doesn't matter how many players are injured, he will not have a losing. They find a way to be top 500 or just a slight winning record, and that's what Sean McVay has proven, like in this game. Because I give a lot of props to Sean McVay because I didn't think they were going to be the fourth. Not with all the injuries that they're having. And it's not just Cooper Kupp and Puka Nakua. They've also lost 2 offensive line starters that are Pro Bowl level talents. It's Joseph Noteboom, the offensive tackle, and Steve Avila, who are the best guards in football. When those two are in the offensive line, their run game is on another level. The pass pro is on another level. So with all those injuries and being able to, it's a huge credit to Sean.
It's a massive credit to Sean McVay. The 49ers, nobody expected them to be 1-2 at this stage, right?
Yep.
And you look at that division and it looks a bit wonky because the standings at the moment are Seahawks 3-0, Cardinals, Rams, 49ers 1-2.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, even going back to like our preseason picks and whatnot, I don't think we expected the Seahawks to sort of be leading this one heading in. But like I said, man,
but you can also attribute to an unfortunate turn of events too, because we never expected the Rams to have that many losses on their team. We never expected.
And we didn't expect, and none of us thought that CMC was going to be out for a prolonged period of time.
Exactly, he was my MVP for this, and now he's been sidelined for almost half the season before he come back and get going
again. Yeah. This season, like, there's been like this season there's been like so many injuries across the board, especially like early on.
Well, we know that the tight end position is dead because literally everyone in the tight end position is getting injured.
Yeah. So,
well, Kittle in this game, there's no Kittle as well. So like that's their third best piece in terms of
there's a lot of players
top 3, but
there's a lot of players, especially starters on like a lot of teams that have just been, they played their first game, season opener, and they're out for either considerable time or the whole season. And it's kind of like, it sort of rears its ugly head. Like, you know, there's preseason, we don't want the players to play. But then to go from like 0 to 60 and have to play live games against other players that are coming at you full speed, full force, it's no longer just thud. You kind of need to build up into that. And that's what preseason is kind of like for. I understand there's contracts in dispute, like no one wants to get hurt before they can earn in-season paychecks, but it's still like you've got to get lathered up somehow. You know, either you turn up the intensity in practice against your own guys, or you run the risk of maybe going out, the body not being prepared and having to go from, like I said, 0 to 60, and then that's when you end up with like soft tissue injuries or just small things that put you out for like
you don't have that perfect sharpness in your body, right?
Yeah,
it's not perfect, not perfection, but you need that sharpness. You need that match ready, like your body to be in that prime state to be able to even go out and do what you need to do.
Match ready state. There's that meme going around of Brandon Ayuk, like another week of him working his way back into football shape.
Well, do you know the really funny thing was, right? So, you know, on the final play, in the final play of the game, right?
Yeah.
It was a bunch of hook and ladders, right? And it was they were managing to get the ball down the field. And who's the one that dropped the ball?
Yep.
At the end. It wasn't going to amount, we didn't think it was going to, but they got a good 40, 50 yards down the field.
Yep.
And then the one
just
that,
like that.
and the person that drops the ball at the end is Ayuk. So it's like
Butterfingers.
it was emblematic of how the season's gone so far for him. 49ers, they obviously need to improve things. They obviously have injury problems, but they can't. With the Seahawks being so far ahead. Now, you look at the next few games they've got: Patriots, Cardinals. 49ers, I know, Pete, you don't want them to win, but the 49ers need to win both those games, right? From their perspective.
Yeah, they need to win, and
then they've got the
beat the
Seahawks.
Cardinals.
Yeah, and then they've got two back-to-back divisional matchups, and then they play the Chiefs and the Cowboys. So 49ers really need to turn it around. They really do, because otherwise the season can get away from them, because they do have the Bills, they do have the Packers, they have to play the Bucks, the Seahawks, the Lions. Not an easy schedule. So, yeah, they dropped the ball on this one. Purdy played well, in my opinion. Purdy did play well. The other players need to buck up, because it's the next man up mentality. And that's when there are injuries, you've got to prove. Jawan Jennings proved his worth to this team. Yep. He put his hand up and said, I am the guy. The rest of them need to do that as well.